कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की
In the news tonight, quarantine necessary despite being vaccinated. National debt likely to further increase. And shortage of machinists in garment factories.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
Good evening, Fiji. While the COVID-19 vaccine has been rolled out in a number of countries around the world, the Ministry of Health says people coming to Fiji will still need to be quarantined even after they've received the COVID-19 jab. This has been confirmed by Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. James Fong, who says this process is being implemented in many nations globally. He says this process is mandatory as those who have been vaccinated might be protected from the severe impacts of COVID-19, but they still can transmit the disease. Pranita Prakash reports.
The Ministry of Health says until the rest of the population is protected, quarantine will still be in place for Fiji.
We do know that vaccination does protect or does reduce transmission, but we're not 100% sure by how much. So because of that, there will be still quarantine conditions applied to those who are vaccinated.
While science has proven that the new vaccines will provide some defense to the COVID-19 virus, rigorous and increased compliance with public health mitigation measures, such as physical distancing, use of masks, hand hygiene and isolation, remains the top of the defense mechanism.
Dr. Fong also stresses there will be no exemptions from quarantine for any person.
No, there won't be any exemptions for anybody, both whether you're Fiji citizen or otherwise. We have to apply some degree of quarantine, irrespective of vaccination.
Only one active case remains admitted at the Lautoka Hospital Isolation Unit. There are currently 936 people who recently arrived from overseas undergoing mandatory 14-day quarantine in government-supervised border quarantine facilities. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
The national debt was at $6.2 billion as of January this year. This was highlighted by Prime Minister Borenge Bainimarama while speaking on the Radio Fiji 1 program, Nonda Prime Minister, yesterday. Apinisa Wangarandovu with the details.
Prime Minister Borenge Bainimarama says the national debt is expected to increase to $8.3 billion by the end of July.
The increase in our debt is mainly due to the impact of the COVID-19 on our economy. The two recent cyclones are also contributing factors, as well as the constant flooding.
Bainimarama says the effect of COVID-19 on the economy is not within our powers, hence the expectation is that revenue may continue to be affected.
Government is expecting a decrease in revenue by 19%. This is similar to losing $2 billion of national revenue. Some businesses may continue to face difficulty, especially for those in the tourism sector.
The Prime Minister also revealed some good indications in their estimations for the current financial year.
Despite the challenging time we're in, we have noted that our initial revenue expectations are above what we thought we would make. The government has also been able to spend less compared to the initial estimation.
Bainimarama says Fiji, like many other developing countries, are expecting more support from the ADB, the World Bank, as well as the Japan International Cooperation Agency to help in recovery effort. Apiniso Grandobu, FBC News.
More than 6,200 students in over 52 schools who were affected by Tropical Cyclone Yasa and Ana will be provided with meals for the next 3 months. Education Minister Rosie Akbar says they're currently working with the Australian government through the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade to provide food assistance to the schools. This includes 19 schools in the Western Division and 33 schools in the Northern Division. Akbar says 23 of these are boarding schools. She says under this program, they will assist 6,280 students in the Western and Northern Divisions.
This program was initiated after we identified schools and communities that had their farms destroyed after TC Yasa and TC Ana. This program will go on for 12 weeks and will allow communities to normalize their farming resources. We have also engaged members of the community such as our Mothers Club and village groups in assisting in preparing and serving meals to our children.
The textile, clothing and footwear industry continues to face a shortage of experienced machinists and technicians. TCF Council President Mike Towler says with the COVID-19 border restrictions still in place, they cannot get any expert into the country. Kelly Badala reports.
In an effort to keep sales up, TCF businesses have been upskilling workers, but that too has been a challenge.
Extremely difficult. In fact, you can get no expertise into the country. We've basically got to utilise the expertise that we have inside this country, and that's the big struggle.
Mike Towler says with the export market now doing well, factories are recruiting more Fijians into the workforce.
A lot of these jobs are actually available here in Suva, and the people that have been out of work are coming from the west, and so to actually relocate to Suva and train has been somewhat of a problem.
Hundreds of workers who were laid off last year are now back.
It's not coming around the corner. We usually slow down, but now it's really busy.
After COVID, like our company getting more orders, more overtime, and our rate is good, and we're getting more money.
The industry has been booming in the last few months due to increased exports to countries such as Australia and New Zealand. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Following regular assessments of the COVID-19 situation, the Ministry of Health was able to start sending patients to India for medical treatment last month. The Ministry of Health was only able to transfer 10 patients to New Zealand for medical treatment from January 2020 to date due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic grappling the world. Kelly Badala reports.
The Health Ministry in the past months has been working to get Fijians who need urgent treatment across to India and New Zealand.
Can the Minister update Parliament on the measures taken to manage patients who need medical and surgical treatment abroad due to border closure?
We have another 11 patients that we are now organizing to send across to India. The Ministry is also currently organizing for the transfer of another 2 patients to India, and the total cost of overseas transfers to both India and New Zealand is about $110,000.
The minister says the majority of the patients suffer from heart problems and cancer.
It is the intention of the Ministry to ensure that all overseas transfers organized by the Ministry are safe and efficient given the many challenges brought on by the global pandemic.
For patients who cannot be transferred during this time, the ministry says they are closely monitored and treated in hospitals by local specialists. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Up ahead, UNICEF assists cyclone-affected schools and coastal erosion affecting Suwabo villages.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
The estimated value of marijuana seized on Navua from January last year to this year stood at around $100 million. Acting Commissioner of Police ACP Rusiati Tundravu highlighted this at the Navua Provincial Council meeting yesterday. Tundravu adds that 20 youth from the island were taken into custody for allegations of cultivation of marijuana this year. Speaking to those present at the council meeting, Tundravu stressed that they will continue to crack down those involved in the planting and cultivation of this illegal drug. UNICEF will continue supporting the Ministry of Education to ensure that students recently affected by TC Yasa enjoy their right to a good education. Eleanor Rangiviu reports that with the assistance from the Republic of Korea, UNICEF has been able to provide the much-needed assistance to cyclone-affected schools and students.
UNICEF has played an important role in helping schools affected by tropical cyclone Yasa through the provision of education supplies, including tents and tarpaulins, school-in-a-box supplies that includes individual stationery and backpacks for students, as well as teacher and classroom learning materials.
We will continue to work with our partners in the local community and our partners in the ministry and our partners in the bilateral community to make sure that children can continue to enjoy their right to education.
With funding from the Republic of Korea, UNICEF has been able to supply 970 backpacks, 78 early childhood development kits, 60 recreation kits, and 11 school tents to the affected schools.
I am pleased to see what has been done so far, but I also see there still needs a lot of things to be done more.
This week, the UNICEF representative in the Pacific, Sheldon Yett, and the Korean ambassador to Fiji, Yang Kyu Park, visited several schools that were damaged by tropical cyclone Yasa and had received this assistance.
All of us have a shared goal, that is seeing kids back in school, back learning, having fun, playing, and seeing children with a smile on their face. We're very happy with what we've seen.
UNICEF is also committed to ensuring that the affected students have access to good, clean water, proper sanitation, and that they return to having classes in classrooms as soon as possible. Eleanor Turangaiwiu, FBC News.
Coastal erosion is a current concern for the villagers of Suva. Acting Suva Chief Ratu Solomoni Kini Tabaki says coastal erosion has severely affected their resources. Sanyani Boila reports.
It's this coastline that is slowly eroding, affecting the hundreds of villagers living in Suva.
We've been reclaiming the coastal area for years now. However, it's still not helping at all. We have built a kindergarten, and the coastal erosion is now moving closer to the school. This is the reality we have been facing for years.
Ratu Kini Tabaki says villages are now going out further into the sea to catch fish for their daily use.
Our ngolingoli is not only ours. Other people that come and fish here are from Lami, Ndelenavesi, and other nearby areas. Before, when we look for food resources on our coast, it's there. But now, we had to move far to get good catch. It is really affecting us.
Village Turanganikoro Beretindumaru says he is the 5th Turanganikoro to lead the fight against the issue, affecting over 900 villages in Suvavo.
Previous Turanganikoro have been trying to address the similar issue that I am facing right now. Coastal erosion for us is an issue, and the rubbish brought in during high tide is another problem. We are focusing more on the coastal areas during our communal work.
Empty bottles, plastics, tins and other rubbish are what people of Subobo had to clear during their communal work every week. This is what they had to bear despite the risk of coastal erosion that has cost them almost 500 meters of their seashore. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Barbecue remains the top-selling food and has become a staple for many events in the country. While there was a heavy downpour in the capital during the 45th Fiji Bitter Mara Sevens, barbecue store owners say they still managed to make some profit. Apinisa Wangairondovu reports.
Prinia Tanuku says she thought it would be impossible to catch up on sales today as business has been slow for the last 2 days.
The last 2 days were hard. Because of the rain, we could not make any profit. But today it was a different story as there was a huge crowd and we managed to recover some expenses and made some profit.
Nuku says barbecue is the best seller in most events. Hence, she opted to sell the barbecue in hopes of making a profit.
I sell other food like roti pastel and hot dogs, but it's not as fast as barbecue. Those kinds of food are mainly fast selling during school games like Cokes.
Stall owner Kitio Nekama says he does not regret selling at the event since he started 10 years ago.
I've been doing this business for 10 years now for the Mara 7. It's very good.
These vendors had moved around during the heavy downpour. However, most say it was worth the wait as they have finally made some profit. Apeniso Grandovu, FBC News.
Ahead in sports, new under-21 Mara Sevens champion crowned. And Labasa registers first DPL win. There's some more coming up.
bola. Ang gono ilutoka tutalita ka ng Bula FM bertini nambang 2 en seri.
Bula FM nambang 2 en seri.
A new under-21 champion has been crowned in the Fiji Bitter Sapphire Mars Sevens tournament. Navua-based Navua Sharks dethroned defending champs Dominion Brothers 12-10 to clinch victory. Talema Teirukula has more.
Still the winger tries to...
A last-minute converted try by Simeli Karadia sealed the win for the confident purple outfit.
At that moment, all I could think about was getting the win for my brothers. I wasn't scared, instead I was confident, and it was all through God's will.
The team dedicated the win to all the kids back in Navua village.
I'd like to dedicate the win to all the children from Navua. As Palm Sunday is coming tomorrow, and all our families, parents, and everyone in Navua.
Claiming victory in their first Marist Sevens appearance is a memorable win for the Navua Sharks.
Even though we had just 11 players, but yeah, we made it. I knew the boys were going to make it because they had faith in it, so yeah.
Simeli Karadia, who converted the last-minute try, was also named the best player for the under-21 final. Talima Terkula, FBC Sports.
And the finals of the Fiji Bitter Marist Sevens tournament ended just before we went live at 7 p.m. and Fiji Shadow took out Tambandamu 31-14. Police Blue Diamond made their first Marist Sevens outing a memorable one, walking away with the women's title in the finals today. Police Blue defeated a much experienced Seahawks outfit 12-7 to be crowned the new women's champion at the ANZ Stadium in Suva today.
Still Police Blue with possession. Matanatambu comes back on the inside. She will go race away for the first try for the Police Blue side. So Mela Matanatambu. Now it is Saini Raoma runs away, but intercepted again by the Police Blue side. And running away is Chosibiningu Suibalu. Will she have the pace to outrun all of them? Still Chosibiningu Suibalu. Struggling at the moment. The score is the Striders team, but then diving over. Great try. Out it comes. That is in the form of and running away. The winger for Rokotina Deva for Police Blue. She'll outpace everyone. Racing back is Saini Raoma, but it is Rokotina Deva.
Former Ratu Kandavu school student Trovilisi Taraki hopes he has made his mark for the Infinity rugby team in the Fiji Bitter Marist Sevens tournament this year. Taraki was one of the key players who has shown some outstanding performance in the three-day tournament. Karlani Tavi reports Taraki is now chasing his dream to be part of the national sevens squad.
Hoping to join fellow schoolmate Israeli Mangala in the Fiji national side, 18-year-old Chovilisi Taraki is using the Marist Sevens as a learning ground to improve his game.
Try to improve my experience and learn some new things from the opposition.
The Valeni South Kondrave native is using his family as a motivation to achieve his dream.
And to give back to the family for their support and everything they support me through. I want to give them a good feedback for my career.
For former Sevens rep Pia Tuwai, the key for players like Taraki is to know how to handle pressure on the field.
For the national team, they still don't know how to handle the situation on the field when under pressure. I feel like it's still incomplete, and the forwards will need to step up and control the game.
Taraki and the Infinity selection bowed out of the Cup quarterfinals against Navua Sharks today. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
The Nabutulevu rugby side is building its team for the future. The Serua-based side featured for the third time in the Marist Sevens tournament with plans to field a formidable under-21 team next season.
The team has been fielding players with an age category of 17 to 20 in the past years.
So we build up under 21, especially next year. We'll be looking forward to have one under 21 for Navua.
The Mari Sevens has been a good learning journey for the side.
Playing with a big team like police, Tambantamu, we learn more rugby about them. So this is a good opportunity to come and learn how to play rugby, especially fitness level.
The team is optimistic that in the years to come, they will make it to the top.
We are improving year by year, and slowly, maybe a few years to come, we do make it to the main finalling side.
Navua level fell to Kandavu's side Kavala Rugby in the elimination round today. Carlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
Lambasa has registered its first win in the Digital Premier League after beating Nandronga 1-0 in Subraya Park in Lambasa today. The lone goal was scored by Lambasa youngster Melvin Money in the 48th minute of play. Carlani Tavi with the details.
The host held the Stallions to a 0-0 draw in the first half. The determined Mbamba Lions came back fighting in the second half to score a goal through Melvin Money to give them a 1-0 lead and the victory. Lambasa coach Ravnil Pratap says getting a win against Nandronga is crucial for them.
So I think the boys really worked hard on the field. They really worked hard for this win on the field for training time. So I think it has paid off today, and heads off to the boys. I'm proud of them.
Disappointed Nandronga coach Ramesh Sharma says they will have to do some soul searching now, having not registered a win after round 4.
I think we put up a gallant performance once again, but the end result is that we've lost the game, and that's disappointing.
Lambasa will now prepare to take on Nandi, while Nandronga will face Rewa in the next round of the DPL. Carlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
Cloudy periods with some showers were experienced across the country today. In the west, fine apart from isolated afternoon showers. From Pacific Harbour to Suva, it was a cloudy day with intermittent showers. And in the north, more clouds than sun, some afternoon showers experienced. At sea, easterly winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. The next high tide is at 6:04 a.m., followed by low tide at 12:10 p.m. tomorrow. Sunrise is at 6:12. For tomorrow, cloudy periods with some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Fine apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers and possible thunderstorms elsewhere. And the outlook for Monday, similar conditions can be expected. Recapping our main stories, quarantine necessary despite being vaccinated, national debt likely to further increase, and shortage of machinists in garment factories. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we're asking, do you know what a pyramid scheme is? Visit our FBC website to answer. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook and Twitter accounts. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow, stay safe and Morimanda.
Hi, I'm Ini from Raki Raki. I love Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.